I'm really excited to show you these cards today because I've only had the Goddess Knowledge cards for Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, about 5 or 6 days, and they've already had a really profound impact on me and a very profound experience with them. The animal spirits just came to me today, but they are just as stunning, and I feel just as powerfully impacted by them. Now, these decks are these little decks here, and this one is called Goddesses Knowledge Cards, and this one is called Animal Spirits Knowledge Cards. And the paintings are all by Susan Seddon Boulay, and the text on this one is by Michael Babcock. And on this one, the text is by John Nagiaki. So the text on the backs are done by two different people, but the artwork is all Susan Seddon Boulay's. Now, let me just, and they're all produced, both of them are produced by Pomegranate. Looks to be the company. Yes, Pomegranate Communications. And Susan Seddon Boulay was obviously an artist. You can see, even not up close, the images that she was an artist from the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And she was born in Brazil, but her parents were English parents who had immigrated there. And so her early childhood, on her website that I found discussing her, she lived on a ranch. She was very much given freedom to roam. She had a huge love for fairy tale and fantasy, and these sort of things would obviously influence her paintings. And it says that she worked principally in oil pastel inks and occasionally pencil, and she had a very personal style that made this layers upon layers that made very dreamlike forms start to emerge, and that many of her inspirations for her artworks were from mythology, poetry, Jungian psychology, worldwide spiritual traditions, as well as a deep love of animals and the natural world. So there are several art books that are also out. There's a shaman, what was that? The works called Shaman, the Paintings of Susan Seddon Boulay, that as well as the Goddess Paintings. The Shaman book is one I may end up having to pick up because they're gorgeous. Truthfully, when I had first started working with the Goddess ones, my thought was, oh, I wish, hopefully maybe they'll put out a deck based on gods. But unless she has, obviously a background of those that, or a back log of those, she won't be able to, she won't be able to do that because she passed away in 1997 at the young age of 55. I mean, look at all these paintings that we have just here. Obviously there's a lot more than what we're just seeing here. So she was a very prolific painter, and I can just only imagine, had she had longer, what she would have came up with. So these are quite quite a legacy for her. There are no guidebooks in the boxes, but the text is all on the backs of the cards. Now, I'm not a fan of this. Like, as a general rule, I would want my cards to have pretty backings and not have words on them. At the same time, because there's a lot of great information about them, it is handy to have them on the back. And I haven't found it once I've just kind of made peace with it, I really haven't found it to be a problem in terms of using it in readings. And I have used this both for myself and for some clients, at least the Goddess ones. I just received these, so I haven't. So I have a set of the goddess ones that Miss Bow and Arrow was so gracious to give me. She kept her animal ones because she loved those. She just didn't really work with goddess energy, so she sent them on to me, and I was instantly in love with them. Well, Miss Amber had already sent me a package, and she said on chat when I had opened these up, or I was showing these, and she was like, don't, and I was like, I'm gonna have to get the animal, and she's like, don't bother, you've got it coming. And so those came in the mail today, actually both decks. And so I'm really quite excited about it, though, because I intend on merging these two decks. I already did it in the Love Mail box video, and I have every intentions of keeping those together. But I really do love the goddess cards for meditation as well as for putting out. So I'm going to keep these separate, kind of as to use in a different way, but I believe that these two I'm going to mostly use combined. Now I have Soul Cards 1, and I love that deck, but I don't, it didn't quite resonate with me as much as I thought it was going to. For me, these decks, and especially when I combine them together, it felt like what I expected to feel from the Soul Cards. And it's not that the Soul Cards are gorgeous, they're absolutely stunning. I love, it's a beautiful deck, but it didn't have the same depth of resonance for me that this did. And I think it's because I have had a lifelong fascination with mythological archetypes. Since I've stumbled at a quite young age on the mythological section of the library and started to read about all of the gods and the goddesses and the great battles and the wars and the romances and just everything surrounding the mythological cycles of the world, I was completely and utterly captivated by it. I love, there is a book called, and I think I've talked about this before, but there is a book called The Power of Myth by Joseph Campbell. And this was actually a huge leap for me in sort of reconciling my past experiences with religion and kind of being able to reclaim the beauty of the story of Christianity. And that's not saying it in a way that it reduces it. That's the thing. Talking about world religions in terms of their stories and their histories, for me, is not a reduction of their power. It is showing the power of the truths in their story, which that was not on purpose. That was not on purpose. I mean, you can just pick anything out. This was a interview that he had with Bill Moyers. And so this is a transcript of this interview. The Power of Myth launched an extraordinary research and interest in Campbell and his work, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's not saying. So this is unillustrated. You can get an illustrated format of this, but this is unillustrated. But, I'm just randomly grabbing what I happened to underline out years ago. I think of mythology as the homeland of the muses, the inspirers of art, the inspirers of poetry. To see life as a poem and yourself participating in a poem is what the myth does for you. So I love that. I mean, again, I could pull just about anything out of here. But I just really learned about the sacredness of, he goes and talks a lot about shamans. He talks about the differences between, a shaman and a priest. A priest is a functionary of a social sort. The shaman's powers are symbolized in his own familiars, deities of his own personal experience. His authority comes out of a psychological experience, not a social ordination. So I think that that's really neat. So yeah, this is a fantastic, I'm going to sit down and reread this book because it's been a while. there's just so much here, and it goes into the hero's journey, which is very much a lot of what we can see repeated in many of the mythological cycles, as well as see repeated in along the tarot. I mean, tarot is steeped in the archetypes of mythology. It's just steeped in it. It is the it comes from that wellspring of archetypes. And for me, that is, is mythology. And these decks draw heavily from world mythology. And so you can see these repeated cycles, not just through our mythological cycles, but through the world's mythological cycles. And when something is repeated across the ages and something gains power, what sometimes functions first as a religion and then moves into a mythology and into story, we can see how powerful an archetype in the collective conscious that is. And so those are around for a reason. Those have stuck around. Those resonate strongly with us for a reason. And there is great power there. And it is a basis, this understanding of the truth in story is the whole basis of why I named my website, and then, kind of pulled that into sort of my name, my branded name, what I function under, because I strongly believe in the power of story, that and I think of story as a capital S. Like, I think of story as divinity. I think of story as source. I think of story as the whole of the collective of the whole of the collective unconscious. I think of story as the water that the high priestess is in, right? That's how powerful that is to me. And mythology is that's the source. That's the, not source, but that's the expressions. There's the expressions that are coming out and bubbling up to the surface and, going back under and coming back up with a little bit of different form and going back under and coming back up in just this beautiful dance of story and of truth. And so for me, holding this deck, especially when I combined it, very much had a feeling of holding a piece of story, holding a piece of that, holding the leaves of the tree that I resonate with as source, and I resonate with very strongly in my personal practice and my professional practice as a tarot reader. And so it's a very powerful experience having these. So because it's so powerful, I do almost wish, I didn't have this. Like, I could just, I'm seriously considering, because I do have 2 goddesses decks. So I'm very seriously considering getting another animal spirit deck, leaving this set intact, and contact papering the back, and finding a pretty contact paper for the back of these, and making backings for myself for one of the decks, one of the sets. That's how strongly I already feel about how this feels to me. So that's very likely something that I will do. And then I will have this intact with the meanings and all this here, but then have that other set without that, because it's that powerful for me. So I know that's a very long introduction, and I most likely should be doing this in 2 parts, but for me, this works together. And so I'm going to try to, I'm not going to go through each of the mythologies and things like that. So I'm going to try to, get move the walk through along, and then I'm going to combine it to use for a reading. But I've actually mixed up the boxes, but that's okay. That's okay. So I think I can stop there. I could go on and on, but I'm going to stop there for now. I'm sure be coming back to this the more that I use it. Again, I've used this, the Goddesses one, and it has just so resonated with me. And I could see this working beautifully with the Heindel Tarot, which is a very, very personal deck. I pretty much don't use that for anybody but myself. So, yeah, I could just see this in so many ways. I've used it with quite a number of decks in client readings since I had this since Saturday. And it just works beautifully. So, I'm going to leave it there because I could, go on and on. Let's zoom in and look at the cards, because obviously that's, the power of these paintings is where things are at, right? That's where things, let me move Mr. Raven up. So this is from the Goddesses Knowledge cards. So this is the first deck that we're going to kind of do a flip through. There are, I believe, 48 cards. This deck says that there's 48 cards. This one does not line it out, but I'm guessing so. Oh, no, yeah, it does. 48 goddesses from Greek, Roman, Celtic, Native American, Egyptian, Middle Eastern, and Scandinavian mythologies, among others, are gathered in this deck of knowledge cards to enhance our understanding of the role of the feminine deity from ancient history to the present day. In learning about goddesses from different cultures, we can recognize these archetypes as parts of ourselves, allowing us a clearer vision of our strengths and weaknesses and giving us a common thread, a link to the collective unconscious. I haven't even read this yet. Susan Seddon-Beaulieu's magnificent goddess paintings have been long favored by mythologists and art lovers alike, and with Michael Babcock's insightful text, they offer a brilliant vision of the worldwide pantheon of goddesses. So yeah, so you can see what I already said. I'm going to obviously have to flip these over. I don't know who they all are. Like, I know that, I know some of them, but I want to make sure I get them right, obviously. But let's take a look at what you get in the text. So here's the first card, which is, of course, stunning. They're all stunning. I can just say that for every single one. So this is Inanna. Inanna is the ancient Sumerian mother goddess, both the protector of grain and the queen of heaven. She combines earth and sky. Powerful, self-sufficient, passionate, and many-sided, she is a fertility goddess as well as the source of the earth's wells, springs, and rivers. Each year, Inanna descends to the underworld to resurrect her consort, Dumuzi. I'm sure I'm going to slaughter many names today. At each of the 7 gates, she leaves one of her garments behind until naked she meets her sister, Ereshkigal, queen of the underworld. Ereshkigal kills Inanna and hangs her on a hook until Inanna herself is resurrected and returns to life. Inanna is a representation of the many facets that go into being feminine, as well as a guide into the dark places of psychological and spiritual death and disintegration. Now, one of the things that I love about this deck is that it really does show both light and shadow, and really the mix of light and shadow, the many facets that we see in the goddess archetypes. And that is extremely powerful. It is not just the light, but it's the dark. It's the beautiful dark. It's the terrifying dark. It's the beautiful light, the beautiful, it is the beauty in the many different facets of the High Priestess. That's really how I see this deck, and I'm obsessed with the High Priestess and the waters of the High Priestess, and it feels like we're just seeing multiple faces of the High Priestess. And there is a High Priestess card in here that speaks to the High Priestess in general. So there we have, so this is Inanna from Sumerian culture. Here we have the beautiful Diana, which is Lady of the Beast. This is Roman for Goddess of Light. She has her bow here, which you often see. I think it's quite interesting that she hasn't strung her bow yet. She's going to string her bow. That just brings an interesting energy. There's a lot of moon energy in this deck because a lot of the goddesses are connected to the lunar energy. And so for me, that's very powerful, because that's certainly my powerful spot, which I love the moon on the end of this totem that Peggy sent to me. So here we have the gorgeous Lady of the Lake. So some of them are horizontal, and I love that. Some of them are in circles like this. It's all beautiful. I can take it in any way. So we see the Lady of the Lake from the Arthurian legends, and she has the sword laying across her. And so this is, of course, it talks when they're connected to, I think they have her connected to Rhiannon and another one, but they definitely discuss, it's a great, the backing is really great and gives a lot of great information, as well as the bottom tends to give you that sort of summation of how you might read with it. So for example, the Lady of the Lake is a guide to the mysterious realms of emotion and renewal, a source of immense creativity. She can give us the energy we need to rule our lives. So there's a lot of like historical, mythological information, but the last few lines tend to kind of sum up a way in which you might use it in a reading. Here we have Minerva, which is a Roman goddess, and is also equivalent to the Greek goddess Athena. So we have that sort of duality there. I mean, the artwork is simply stunning. There's nothing about this deck that isn't absolutely stunning, in my opinion. Here we have Flora, which is a Roman goddess. That's some sun energy, right? Gorgeous. Now, this card is actually in both decks. They use this paintings. They use this for Caltes, who is a moon goddess of the Ugric peoples of Siberia. She's a shapeshifter, and she's manifested here as a hare. This is, like I said, also in this image they use also in the animal. I'm going to set this aside because I'm going to see if any of the other ones, when I get to the animal ones, seem like they're crossovers. I love this image. Here we have the changing woman. This is Native American from the United States. Absolutely stunning. This reminds me of like a death card in the Marielle Tarot. And again, I can't go through into all the mythologies because literally I would be here all day because I just love this kind of thing. So here we have Hel. She is a Norse she's a Norse queen. It says her underworld, unlike the Christian hell, which received its name from her, is simply an other world, a place of renewal rather than a place of punishment and misery. When northern shamans visit her realm, they put on a helkep, a magic mask, sometimes a helmet that renders them invisible. Hel is the embodiment of divine mystery, a challenge to look behind the mask of appearance to see things as they really are. Look at that. Just gorgeous. Here we have Fortuna, which is a Roman goddess, as well as an Italian goddess. You know, the goddesses obviously cross over. We also see a lot of Greek and Roman crossover. I love that she looks like she's holding tarot cards. Let's see if it says anything about it. No, but she's definitely, you see her, you know, obviously quite a lot. She's in the Kipper deck. You also see her in, oftentimes connected with the wheel in tarot, the Wheel of Fortune. Here is Lilith with the skull. So Lilith is a Middle Eastern goddess, which is also considered to be the first woman created in that idea, and the first wife of Adam, but she refused to be subordinate, so she was displaced for Eve. Fascinating. I think that Kelly Flowers, oh my gosh, Katie, I just called you Kelly. I'm just going to leave it in there because she'll get a kick out of it. Katie Flowers, we're sisters. Katie Flowers has some, you know, she does some, I want to say she does one focused on Lilith, but she's definitely in some of her videos because she works with Lilith and has some information and some, I think, good books that you can read about her if that's something that interests you. This is a stunning portrayal of Mary. Oh my goodness, just a stunning portrayal of Mary. I really like how they talk about, she's also known as the moon of the church, Stella Maris, the star of the sea. It's just, it really is beautiful. Beautiful. Obviously Middle Eastern. Here we have Athena, who so is a Greek, the Greek virgin goddess. Oh, I just threw that right on the floor. Try that again. This is Thetis, a Greek sea goddess. And I know I have to pick it up. I've got to pick it up. Here we have the Valkyrie. So this is a bird goddess. She said they say it's one of the most ancient goddesses, both a life-giving creator and a goddess of death and regeneration. It does talk about how it kind of shifted, that idea of the Valkyrie shifted. So she reminds us the seeds germinate in the darkness, that sometimes we need the darkness in order to grow. Look how gorgeous that is. So beautiful. This, please. I try to get Nina to say this, but Lazoltioto, I'm sure, who knows. This is a Earth Mother, and she is often shown as like Kali in India, as a horrible devouring figure, yet is honored as a moving creative principle. She is a proof that anything that can overwhelm and destroy us also has the power to heal and grant forgiveness. This is the triple goddess, so it just speaks to the triple goddess of the maiden mother and the crone. And it talks about the goddess with three faces as a universal motif found worldwide. And kind of talks about that. So I just love that, because I have for, ever, as long as I can remember, very strongly associated or resonated with the triple aspect of the goddess, as I think probably most people do, or certainly most women do. This is Aphrodite. She's most often described as radiant and shining. She is foam-born. Embrace mature love. Aphrodite is there to bless us. Look at that. Look at her face. Shell. This is a Mayan moon goddess. Just beautiful. Look at her face. Look at her face, and look at the shadow of her face shifting. Oh, love this one as well. This is Spider Woman. This is Native American. Just gorgeous. Here we have Amphitrite, a Greek triple goddess, in her guise as ruler of the sea. Her name, used synonymously with the ocean by Homer, means the third one who encircles. I'm guessing, I'm not sure if this is meant to be horizontal or if it's meant to be, I don't know. I think it's meant to be upright. We have a dolphin here. Look at this one. This one's come up with me a couple times. Themis is one of the oldest and most revered of the Greek goddesses. She is the daughter of Gaia. She has deep wisdom, familiar with both the depths of earth and the heights of the sky. She is a guide into the soul. This has come up with for me a few times. Here we have the Sphinx, is again an ancient moon goddess. A lot of moon energy. I think that goddesses throughout time have been strongly connected with the moon, and that is very much reflected here. Look at how beautiful her face is. This is Psyche. This has come up a couple times as well for others, actually. Again, C.S. Lewis's Till We Have Faces, this beautiful story of Psyche. Look how strong she is. This is Hera. She is the ancient goddess who, before she appeared as wife to Zeus in Greek mythology, was a powerful matrilineal queen in her own right. Look at how strong she looks. I love this. Look at Isis and Osiris. And I'm going to set this aside too for when we get to, or did we already see Mary? Yes. I really love these two, because this is her son, and then husband. It works in strange ways in mythology, but we have that same sort of, they both understand the loss of a son. Mary certainly understood that she was always knowing that she was only going to have her son for a certain amount of time. So I just think these two images really speak to that, obviously, that energy it speaks very powerfully to me, of course, on different levels. Here we have the beautiful High Priestess card. We can see the towers in the background. We can see the Torah in her hand. So this very much speaks to like the Tarot High Priestess. Beautiful. Here we have Artemis, who is the archaic mistress of animals that they say dates back to the Paleolithic times. She shows us those frightening places that bring healing even through the fear. Wow. This I know is Demeter, which is Persephone's mother. Gorgeous. She looks like a constellation here. Look at this one. This is Etienne, whose name literally means shining one. She's a Celtic moon goddess. Here we have Ironrod. Again, she is a Welsh triple goddess, famed for her beauty. She may be identical to the Cretan moon goddess Eridine. Like all moon goddesses, she has a special love, concern, and responsibility for all life, especially for green things. Keeper of time. Look at that. Look at the faces here. She's just stunning. Here we have Eagle Woman, which again would be, I really liked this one. Is this a Native American one? Sphinx is, there's a couple different ones, different cultures that have a form of this. And this was quite interesting because it was this blending of the masculine energy of an eagle. The Eagle Woman is a joyful affirmation of our ability to break out of millennia-old stereotypes and find a new definition that embraces the entire continuum of being alive. She teaches that women can express the qualities of the eagle while continuing to contain and nurture. Gorgeous. Look at this one. White Shell Woman, also known as Turquoise Woman, Abalone Woman, and sometimes as the younger version of the Changing Woman. This is a Navajo, Native American goddess. This is interesting because they use this for Medusa, and it's a Pegasus. And so the story of Medusa is that when Medusa was killed, a Pegasus came out of her blood. And so it's quite interesting read here because it talks about how Medusa, who was really traditionally a symbol of growth and generation that dies, so that from death may come life, much like a phoenix, but it became a symbol of fear, for to look directly upon the divine is to face a terrifying reality. But from out of her blood sprung the Pegasus. Quite interesting read on that one. Here we have Rhiannon, a great goddess worshipped by the Welsh. She demands that we honor our instinctual and animal selves as a source of creativity, abundance, and order. Here we have Morgan Le Fay. Quite love this. The ambivalence with which she is traditionally represented echoes our own fear of her deep and ancient wisdom. Love this. I talked about this in the chat. This is Persephone. This is Persephone before she knows that she's going to be able to at least spend some of her time outside of hell. I just think this is beautiful. This quite touched me at a very deep level. Here we have Hathor, which is an Egyptian goddess. Bast, which is also an Egyptian goddess. I liked this one. This was a playful. This says, she reminds us to be playful and relaxed like a cat and to find occasions to celebrate life. Here we have Hina, which is a Polynesian goddess. Look at how beautiful. I mean, there just simply isn't one that isn't beautiful, right? This is Epona, a Celtic goddess. I just love the faces are so varying, so strong, and yet some are so soft. Like there's just all different faces and structures, and it's just beautiful. Venus is a Roman goddess. This is Pele. Yes, Pele is a Hawaiian volcano goddess. This is Gaia. Oh, look. Look at that card. Look at, can you see the blindfold here and the face? Just stunning. I love this version of Kuan Yin. I love this. I talked about this in the unboxing because this came up, but this is a Eskimo goddess whose father threw her into the ocean, and when she clung to save his own life, she clung to the boat and he chopped off her fingers. And now shamans go to she's the now goddess of the underworld, and they go and comb her out her hair and massage her mutilated fingers. Sedna is a reminder of the nourishing gifts that are to be found deep in the dark, cold places that we most fear. Ishtar is a Babylonian creator goddess with all different layers. It's quite an interesting read as well. Here we have Eve. I love the 4 animals that we have here. It's just beautiful. Another gorgeous. This is Selene. She's a moon goddess. I'm surprised that Hecate was not in here because she's not. It does talk about how Selene represented the full moon, which is for me very powerful. Artemis represents the crescent or waxing moon, and Hecate the waning and dark moon. But there's not a Hecate in this deck, and I'm really surprised about that. But there you have it. So, you know, they're gorgeous. I don't know what else to say besides the fact that they're absolutely stunning. So, let's take a look then at the animal cards real quick. So this one is Animal Spirits, and it says, to the ancients, all things in nature had sacred or spiritual meaning. The world was inhabited by the higher beings who took the form of fantastical creatures that were part animal, part human, and exceedingly powerful. These beings are the spirit guides who lead the departed to the next life, heal the sick, restore balance and harmony to a troubled world. The tribal healers knew the animal spirits well. They journeyed beyond the threshold of ordinary reality to invoke the power of these great beings. Gorgeous owl. So now this is set up a little different. We have owl, we have keyword, like symbology based on keywords, and then it does talk about their role in mythology and in a kind of the way that we look at that in a mythological, in an archetypal way. So here we have obviously owl, we have the gorgeous hawk, we have the goat, I would assume, yeah, goat, friendly goat, Bobby will like that one. We have the eagle, and we have here again the eagle with the woman's face, which I think is stunning. Talks about some Native American mythology there. The fox, look at that gorgeous fox. The beautiful tiger. Primal power, creation, sexuality, and perception. Look at that. Look. The leopard, stealth, strength, and purity. Look at the seahorse. I always wanted a seahorse. Oh, so you can see the shape of the woman there. Here we have the dog. We have the dolphin. The swan. Look at that. I can't quite see this one. What is this? This is the, oh, this is a spider. I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Let me back it up a little bit. You can definitely see spider webs down here. We can see it's almost like a woman that is wrapped in a cocoon. Oh, yeah. Protection, aid, and wisdom. The Ojibwe people hang hoops of spider webs over their infants to protect them from harmful influences. Other Native American peoples associate the spider with a grandmother spirit who lives underground. The spider woman in this painting, draped in a thick robe with flowing hair and with a ghostly face, recalls the legends of the ancient grandmother. Wow. Look at the polar bear. A raven. Oh no, it's kingfisher. I just saw the dark feathers here. This is a beautiful kingfisher. Look, you can tell by the beak. Gorgeous, 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 gorgeous. Peace, abundance, and love. Here we have the horse. The butterfly. I'm assuming, yeah, butterfly. Look at that. The butterfly has been symbolic of the soul in early Christianity, conjugal bliss in China, and change in joy and joy in Native Americans. In early Minoan and Mycenaean cultures, the butterfly goddess was a key emblem symbolizing new life after death. Look at that. Here we have the stunning crow. Elephant, strength, prosperity, fertility, and wisdom. The heron, you can see the herons here. Look at that. The deer. I want to make sure. I like, why are you checking for a deer? Well, it could be some kind of African deer-like animal that I don't exactly know the name of. Here we have the cow. Gorgeous. Look at that. Panther. They're just so strong. So here's that image. So we have, let me see, it's the same exact one. This one is a little bit different perspective. Just where it's cropped is different, but it's the same animal. Rabbit. I really like this coyote. He showed up in a reading. Transformation, creation, cunning, and good fortune. Here we have the dove. Look at the frog, or the toad. Frog. I was going to say, look away, Avalon. She hates toads. Here we have the scarab. Just stunning wolf. This one, I just want another one just to stick on the wall. See if I can find a print of that. Here we have a puma. Look at the hawk or owl of some kind here. Along with the other animals in the drawing, the puma is framed by a circle with 4 points, which forms a mandala, a mystic circular symbol that in Buddhist and Hindu traditions has used as an aid to meditation. The psychologist Carl Jung said that the mandala circumscribed a holy place as a symbol of completeness within the inner psyche and was a means towards greater self-awareness. Look at the bear. That's a powerful totem, huh? The lion. The jaguar. I love some of her like 4 points that she has. Look at the bug. Let's see, it says insect. Insects are the most plentiful of beasts, consisting of more than 800,000 species. Their ability to metamorphose and fly has led to frequent symbolic associations with the spirit world and spiritual renewal. Look at that, praying mantis. Animal deities. To many people around the globe, animals represent the first beings, the ancient ones. So much like we had the high priestess, we have kind of animal deities in general here. We have the alligator or crocodile. Crocodile, opportunity, risk, fertility, and life. Lounging crocodile. Look at this one. Birds as a species. Look at her. The snake. Ah, look. This painting entitled Rattler is of a snake dancer. Transformation, healing, sexuality, and rebirth. Look at this. Peacock. I'm never usually fond of peacock art, but this one is quite gorgeous. Here we have caribou. The cat, just the not regular cats, I believe. Independence, magic, and abundance. Here we have the parrot. The fish. I know I have to speed it up. The bull. Look at that. It's almost like a minotaur here. You learn so much by reading the backs too. They're fascinating. This is the seagull. A creature of the sea and the sky. I love things that cross like that. Here we have the beautiful raven. Just give me the raven and the wolf ones. I need to like blow them up and put them on my space. The ram. Look at this one. The totem. Although the word totem derives from the Algonquin word totem, meaning my kin, the concept of animal totems is universal in Native American culture and other cultures around the globe. Animals are the guardian or tutelary spirits, and each person and group has an animal totem. Oops. And each person has, oh, where am I? I've lost this. And each person and group has an animal totem. Individuals inherit totems at birth, acquire them through marriage or by membership in a clan, or learn of their watchful presence while in trance. And Native American dancers invoke the power of the totem by imitating the animal in posture, movement, and dress. Totems were also represented in elaborately carved totem poles, which functioned as grave markers or the emblems of a family or a clan. And then we have the monkey. So there we have the gorgeous animal ones as well as the goddess ones. And you can just, let's zoom out a bit here. Back out. See my stone totems. And let's go ahead and shuffle these together, shall we? What time is it? Now, I will say that these are quite glossy. That's why I'm wondering if I could contact paper these, or on the back if it would really stick to them. I might would have to rough them up. I don't know. It's just something I'm going to think about. Look at that. That's a nice chunky deck, isn't it? You know, a lot of people put the soul cards 1 and 2 together as well. I know quite a few people who do that. And this to me is just, yeah, same sort of concept. But it's quite shuffleable. I mean, it's definitely stiff because they're thick. But, you know, you can see the stock is, you know, thin. It's definitely not a thick stock, and it's quite glossy. But it's still, you know, I have longish fingers, and I can still... That wasn't an example of it. I haven't tried to do it this way, actually, but I think that you could still... I think you could still manage it, but you know me, I'm a rifle shuffler. And now I have, because of course, obviously, you know, you can see the, if you turn it this way, you can see the words. If you turn it this way, you can see the, what's there. I've just been turning it this way because it just feels like, okay, it's almost like looking at the bottom of the deck. So I kind of get a little bit of energy off the top card here, which is Hera. Supremacy of the Queen Within. And then I just split normally like I do. And if I'm going to do a 3 card, sometimes I'll pull that one, and the very bottom card, just depending on what I'm doing, or I might just pull 3 straight from there. And so here you can see we have Medusa, and we have, is this the Jaguar? And then here we have Rhiannon. They're just, look at how gorgeous these are. I'm just going to kind of pull a few. Here we have an insect. We have the animal deities, and we have Morgan Le Fay. We got Pele. We have Hina, and we have Epona. Look at that. So I think this would be an amazing deck for just about anything, to pull at the end of a reading, to just get energy of a reading, to get a message for a reading, to do a sort of, okay, what to let go of, what to hold on to, and what energy to move into the next moon cycle, let's say. So we have Aaron Rod. This is the Keeper of Time. She is a keeper of the heavens and of cycles. And so we may be holding on to time too tightly and not allowing for the flow and the ebb and the flow of the cycles of time. And so that constriction or restriction of time may be something that we actually need to release, that we may need to actually flow a little bit better and not be so constricted by time, because that's showing up as something that we need to release. As something we need to hold on to, the crocodile, is about opportunity, risk, taking risks. So we need to kind of have that ability to take risks, to grasp hold of opportunities. Wise and menacing. There's that sort of risk there. Look at the monkeys that are here. So we need to step out of our comfort zone and take some risks here, so that we can capitalize on opportunities that may be coming to us. And then energy to hold on to is Fortuna. She gives us a way to approach the ups and downs of life, a perspective that can offer us some equanimity as we proceed on our journey. It is getting late. But she can also symbolize capriciousness of luck. So if we're holding on to this kind of this taking opportunity, this idea of risk, we have that idea with Fortuna that risk might pay off in the future, and that we need to kind of hold out to that intention of success, depending on what it is, obviously, that we're doing. So, I mean, these are just simply gorgeous cards. I probably should take the other one out of there, but I probably won't, because I don't want to, if I decide to separate them out, I don't want to have to try to find where I stuck it. So here we have the dolphin, we have the Valkyrie, and the frog. They're just gorgeous. I mean, I just don't even know what else to say about them. They tap so strongly into, there's that again, into that sort of archetypes. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I like having the goddesses separated out for maybe for specific purposes. But this deck, I could see maybe keeping the animals separated out. But for right now, I'm going to work with them together and just see how that goes. And then keep my obviously the second goddesses that I have separate for some other work that I'm doing. But yeah, that makes just a gorgeous deck. So there we have it. This has been a look at the Goddess Knowledge cards and the Animal Spirits Knowledge cards. I hope that you've enjoyed this. You can purchase these on Amazon. I don't believe these are hard to come by. And I want to say that they're around the $12 price range. You know, they're not, at least in the United States. I don't think these are difficult to get a hold of or pricey to get a hold of. And they are absolutely stunning. So thank you for watching.